Today I want to go over some of the basics I've learned for nutrition during the race of a triathlon. I'll kind of go over some different distances and what I found to be pretty important for each race and what I'm learning as I'm going along training for longer events. So I started off doing a lot more sprint events, which early on I didn't know anything. So I would always cramp on my quads, hamstrings, calves during the run. And I quickly learned that you need to have at least something to drink. And that's the thing for sprints. I think you really just need an electrolyte drink. It has maybe a few carbs in it, but somewhere between 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Some products that have that are like Liquid IV or LMNT. LMNT doesn't really have any carbs in it, and Liquid IV is pretty minimal, but for how short the sprint is, you can usually get away with that just to help you avoid any cramping. And it's not a long enough race that you'll have to really refuel on carbs too much, unless it's a really hot day. Then you can be drinking more fluids and add a little bit more carbs in, just because your body's gonna be working harder to keep you cool. And then my first Olympic triathlon, I ended up eating some fruit snacks between the bike and the run, because I had no plan, but it was something that I knew that I needed because I was getting hungry and I could already feel myself kind of burning out. So I realized that carbs were going to be really important. And after this is where I kind of found this nice resource that I'll link in the description. It's just a calculator that will tell you how much nutrition you'll need for different distances of triathlon, from sprint to full Ironman. I found that really helpful. But going from Olympic, it becomes more important to refuel yourself. Trying to take in about a 16-ounce bottle of fluid. Again, that you want electrolytes in, like sodium and carbs at this point, because you'll also be trying to take in about 60 grams of carbs in total per hour. Based on how long the Olympic can take you, you're actually burning enough carbs to start bonking or losing a lot of your energy later in the race. Versus a sprint, it's not as big of a deal. So, big thing for that is trying to take in little sips of fluid overall over an hour, getting about 16 ounces of a full bottle, and then 60 grams of carbs. So with this, there's a couple things you want to be doing. So in Olympic, you might want a full bottle filled with a solution that has electrolytes and carbs in it, and also like a gel, like one of these things, like a cyst gel. Really easy to take down, easy on the stomach, and tastes pretty good. So you don't want to be dealing with a bad taste in your mouth while you're already working pretty hard. And then another thing that I really realized, more so in sprints when I was trying to take drinks, but when I start to be doing these during your training rides, to train your stomach to be able to handle the stress of digesting this food while you're working out. I learned my lesson with this pretty bad during one of my sprints. I got some pretty bad cramps on the bike. And trying to go into a fast 5K run just wasn't happening. So now I'm pretty cognizant of it. Every time I go on a bike ride, or before and after a run, I'm fueling during the ride. And then half Ironman, more so you're going to be wanting to taking, again, same kind of things during an Olympic, with just kind of upping the fluids more and the gels because it's a longer race. So again, you're shooting for 16 ounces of fluid to counteract the sweat and electrolyte loss over every hour, and then 60 grams of carbs to counteract the energy loss every hour. So half Ironman take about 4.5 hours is a really good time. You're taking in about between like 240 to 300 grams of carbs, 64 to 80 ounces of fluid with electrolytes in them. And the more hot it is during the day, obviously you're going to be wanting to plan for drinking more fluids than what is generally recommended. Ironman is where it comes into. It's a full day race. So not only do you want to be taking in the fluids and the gels as you're going along, but you might actually want to have some solid foods. Like I'm seeing people do some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as they're getting on the bike to really actually fuel yourself up to prepare for the length of the race ahead of you. Other important things to keep in mind are pre-race. So you want to get about usually between 80 to 100 calories total of carbs, higher carb meal before. So that can just be like a banana and an apple. Easily digestible things, again, to help your stomach out during the race. And then, especially for the longer races, looking at the days ahead of time, at least 2-3 days ahead of time, especially for an Ironman, making sure you're staying hydrated, as in drinking enough water throughout the day. Recommendations for that will be 1 fluid ounce per pound of your body weight, or at least per pound of your lean body weight, like muscle, bone, tissue mass if you're a little overweight, as well as taking in about 2,000 milligrams of sodium each day to make sure your electrolyte balance is there too. So you're not just taking in all water. And also carb loading up, again, those 2 to 3 days in advance, not just the night before, because you'll just end up sitting with a brick in your stomach during the race, which you don't want if you're just doing it the day before. But that's kind of the general guidelines that you want to do of just pre-race and during race nutrition for triathlons, to make sure you don't die down during the race and just have to stop due to just lack of energy or feeling like you're even going to pass out, dizziness, lightheaded. These kind of things come from dehydration, lack of electrolytes, lack of just general energy from lack of carbs. So keeping those things in mind. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments below. My name is Connor Ganser. I'm a physical therapist and triathlete. Thanks for watching.